Hello everyone, welcome to EduTechGyan YouTube channel. From today we are going to start a new playlist on Azure Data Factory real-time scenario. So today is our first video on the topic how to copy the response of REST API with the parameters to Azure SQL Database using the Azure Data Factory. So what we are basically doing, we are calling one REST API and we are going to pass the parameter to that REST API, and then once we get the response of the REST API, then we are going to copy that response to the one of the SQL database table. So that is what the agenda for the today. So in this agenda, what we need actually, so that we are going to see, first we are going to create one link service for the REST API, and then another link service we are going to create for the SQL database connection. First link service is called for create for the REST API connection. So we need to hit the URL first, right? And then for the second link services we use for the connecting to the SQL database server. Okay. After that we are going to create a source dataset. In this dataset, what we are going to do, we are going to pass the parameter to that REST API, whatever we are going to call, right? We are in this tutorial today we are going to call one GET API with the parameters. Okay, so for that GET API we are passing parameters. Okay, so that we will cover in the source dataset. So in this dataset, once we pass the parameter, we will get the JSON response. So once we get the JSON response, then we are going to save that JSON response to the SQL table using the target dataset. So this is the agenda, and in this agenda there is one more thing where I am going to show you the database table as well before storing the data. Okay. So yeah, so let's get to practically started. How can we implement this thing? So we need to be logged to the Azure portal. So I'm already logged in, so I'll directly show you the Azure portal. So once you log into Azure portal, and when you open your ADF, so you will see this kind of interface. You need to hit the launch studio button. Once you hit the launch studio button, it will take some time to load. Once it is load, you will see this kind of a dashboard. What currently you are able to see is, okay. So this is load. So this is the interface what you are going to see once you launch the studio. So here, if you can see, here we have some options like home, author, monitor, manage, and centers. Okay. So mostly we are focusing on the author and manage things. Okay. So before creating a link service, I am going to show you the which API we are going to use. So for that, I already opened one dummy API site. This is a dummy API site. I will add this link to the description of this video. Okay, so you can get easily. So in this the dummy API, we have one API that is employee API. So if you can see here in this employee API, this is the GET API. Okay, so in this API we have two parameters like number of records and ID starts. Okay, from which ID it will start. So once we hit this, so you can see we will get this kind of a JSON response. Okay, so we are going to store this JSON response in one of our SQL table. So we already created a table with the same field name. Let me show you that table as well. So if you can see, this is the table I have already created with the same column. Okay, if you can see the column name here, ID, image URL, first name, last name, email ID, contact number, age, date of birth, salary, and address. So same thing you can see here as well, right? ID, image URL, first name, last name, email, contact, age, DOB, salary, and address. Okay, so these all things we are going to save in the database. Okay, so now our first goal is we need to create a link service to connect to this URL till this URL, because this is the primary URL, right? After this we are passing the parameters to get the result. Okay, so we need to connect this first, this part. So let me copy this. I'm going to the manage page. So for creating link service, we need to go to the manage option. in the manage option you can see here link service option. Under this link service you can create a new link service. Okay, so we need to feed the link. So because we are going to use a REST API, right? So we need to use the REST here. Okay, once you search for REST you will see this option REST. So you need to select that, then after that you need to continue. What we need to do, REST service, will give one name, REST service, REST API. I'll give as a link service connect. I give this name. Okay, connect is for connection. Okay, so here what we are going to do, we are going to paste this URL what we copy from here. This is the base URL. Okay, we are pasting here. So for this particular URL we don't need a username or password. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the authentication type to anonymous. Okay, so in that case we don't need to pass anything. So once you pass this URL here, so we can test the connection. So once you hit, it will take some time, then it will give us a message that test connection successful. Okay, see, connection successful. Okay, so this URL is a valid. Okay, so we can hit this URL. So now what we can do, we need to just click on the create button and it will create the REST API. Okay, connect. So this is the one part we complete. Okay, as per the agenda. Now what is our second part is? Second part is we need to create a link service for SQL database, right? We need to call this same SQL database what we are able to see here. Okay, so for that what we are going to do, we need to search for Azure SQL Database. So once you select here, what we are going to do, we are going to call Azure SQL Database. We'll give name as a link service connect. And here we need to select your subscription. I have a free trial version, so I'm going to select that. This is my server name, demo SQL server. After that we'll load our database. So this is my database name, demo database. If you can able to see here as well, this is the name, demo database. Okay, after that we need to pass the username, right? So for that I have stored the username here, demo. Okay, demo admin. And the password is password. So once you enter all the details, same thing we need to test it so that it will show us that the connection is successful. Okay, so whatever the detail we pass, that is correct. Okay, so now we are going to create a link service. This is for the SQL database. Okay, so both the link service are ready. So what is our next target is, now we are going to create first two data sets. What is the two data set? First data set is a source data set. Okay, so from where we need to get the details. Okay, so for source data set we are going to use like same way REST, same thing, because we are going to use a REST API. Okay, so we are going to use a REST. So I'll give here name as like a source data set. REST API. Okay, so if you can see here, now we are able to see the link service related to REST what we created. Okay, so I'm going to select that and now I'm going to create. Okay, so once you select that, you are able to see this kind of interface here. Okay, so now what we are going to do is here is we need to pass a parameter, right? So if you can see here, we have a parameter. Okay, after this question mark, right? So this part we need to make a dynamic, right? We need to pass it as a dynamic parameter. So what I will do, we'll copy this. Okay, we'll leave it later. What we need to do, first we need to create a parameter. If you pass that same thing here, and if we are going to test, so see, the same thing will work because it is connecting the connection. nothing will happen here. So that is not required now. So to view the dataset, that is not possible now here. So what we can do here is we need to make it as a dynamic. So we need to add one parameter. So I'll give it this parameter name like parameter REST API parameters. Okay? I'll give like this name, parameters REST API parameters. Now I'm going to call this variable here. Like if you can click on this add dynamic content, you can see your parameters here. Okay, so once you select, so it will take as a dynamic parameter here. Okay, so now what we have done is we have created one source data set with the dynamic parameter. So here we need to pass the value. I'll tell you when we need to pass and from where we need to pass the value. Okay, so for now only one thing will remember, we create one data source. Now we are going to create another data source, that is for the store the result of this, whatever the result we got here, we need to store it in the SQL DB, right? So for that we are going to use Azure SQL Database, and for this what we are to do, we give one name, target dataset SQL table. Okay, so we are going to save whatever the result we got here, we need to save here. So here we are going to select our SQL link service. Okay, so once you select SQL link service, so you are able to see here the table that we have in the database, that you can see here. Okay, so now I am going to select that table. Okay, so once you select it, you can click on the OK. Okay, once you click OK, if you select on the preview, we don't have anything here in this table, so you can see the empty header will come. So now if suppose, okay, if you can see here, our schema is also loaded successfully, all the fields. Okay, so now this thing also done. Now our source is ready, our target is ready. Now what we need to do, we need to create a one pipeline to communicate between these two while passing the parameter to REST API, and when we get the response, we need to store this to target data. So for that we are going to create one pipeline. Let me add a new pipeline. I'll give name here as a pipeline REST API response to SQL table. Okay, I'll give like this name. Okay, so I give this name. Now what we need to do, we'll do one copy activity. What we are doing, we are copying from source dataset to target data. So for that we use copy activity. Okay, copy data. So once we select here, I'll give, okay, I'll keep name as it is, I'll not change here. So in the source, if you can see here we have option, right? Source and sync. Sync means the target thing. So here the source, what we need to select, we need to select the source data. So if you can see here we'll get two options, source and target. Our source is a REST API, so we select the REST API. So now if you can see, once you select your source, so here you have option to pass your parameters. Okay, here they asking your parameters. So whatever the parameter you are passing here dynamically, and the same name, whatever the name you gave here, that will come to this place now. Okay, so now you need to pass a value here. So your value should be anything, like in my case what value I need to pass here is this one, right? So I'll do one thing, I'll copy the same here, copy all the things. Okay, and I'll pass this thing as a value here like this. Okay, I can pass this like this. But if you have anything, like if you want to pass a date, or you want to create some functions with the help of some function, So you can click on the dynamic parameters, and then you can go to the function, system variable, or whatever variable you define. So you can use any of the things. Okay, like if you have a date thing, so you can go to the function and select the date, like UTC now date, current date. So you can get this current date, or you want to do conversion, anything. Okay, add date or add minute, anything. But in my case, I have these parameters need to be passed, so I'm just passing these parameters. Okay, so once we pass the parameters, okay, there is nothing required here. Okay, so this is the thing for this specific thing. If we click on, now we click on the preview data now, so we can see the data for this. So here what is the parameter says, the number of record is 10 and it starts with the ID 11001. So if I click on the preview, see here we can see the result. Okay, this is our API result. Same result what we are getting here. If we hit this, the same result we can see 10011 1002 1003 till the 10 record, total 10 record will come. Okay, the same thing we get here as well. You can see 1001. Okay, so this is the result what we are getting. Now what we need to do, we need to store that result to our target data, right? Target location. So target location is our SQL data. So now here we need to select our target table. So I have selected this target table. Now there is one more thing. Okay, in the target thing, if suppose we don't have this table here, so what will happen in this case? In that case, you can create the table auto create option. You can use the auto create option and it will create a table automatically based on the details. Okay, whatever the detail we have. If you select this, so it will create that automatically based on the details available. But now in our case we have a table, so that's why I'm selecting this. Okay, nothing will change here, anything, no need to change. Now if we come to the mapping, we need to click on the import schema. Once we select import schema, it will load the schema of both the source and target. So in our case, my source name, source IDs, what is the column IDs, and the target ID are same. But in some cases what will happen, whatever your response column name, and if your table column names are different for the respective column, then you can select here like this. You can do the selection and you can specify against that column. Okay, for that we use this mapping. We need to map exact columns. Okay, so this is also done. Okay, there is no need to do anything here. Okay, so now what we can do, we need to validate first before running. So validation is very must, so it will give us the error if there is any error in this in the pipeline, so it will show. So we don't have any error. So now we can click on the debug. Okay, so once we click, the process will start. Okay, you can see the process will start. It is in queue now. Take some time. Okay, so copy data activity is completed. Okay, if you can also see here, as well as if you want to see the run pipeline run, so you can also see here as well in the debug. Okay, here also you can see, and once you are here, so you can see the flow as well. If you click there, so now in our case, once you click here, so here you can see the result. Like what will happen, it read 10 record from this REST API and it load it to this database 10 record. So 10 is to 10. So our data is correctly moved. So now once we go to our database and we run this query, so we can see our result. See, all the data are stored. IDs are correctly stored, names, okay, everything is stored correctly. So this is how we can do the transformation of REST API to SQL table using Data Factory. So yeah, that's it for this video. If you have any doubt or any queries, so you can mention in the comment in this video. Okay, so yeah, thanks for watching. Have a nice day.
Thank you for joining us on this educational and technological adventure at EduTechGyan. We hope you enjoyed the content and gained valuable insights to help you on your learning journey. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell to stay updated with our latest uploads. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas for future videos, we'd love to hear from you in the comment section below. Remember, knowledge is power, and with EduTechGyan, you'll always be ahead in the game. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep embracing the wonders of education and technology. Stay curious.